Is the meter moving? OBS.
Good morning, folks. We had some adventure where, and who knows? Maybe you can't hear me right now. I don't know. But there was a period. Oh, now there's two focus rights in my dashboard, so that's great. Okay. Well, so we are holding while Andrew is listening for us, since I have. It's one of the things I can't check for myself. Oh, great, great. And I'm not like weirdly doubled or anything. All right. 'Twas brilliant. Okay, great. Weird. What page are we on? Since I had to restart my computer twice. Okay. Ah. Interesting. I don't know. I'm a narrator, not a podcaster. I said I'm a narrator, not a podcaster. Someone suggested that I do stuff with Twitch, and I'm like, oh dear God, I'm, I am there. You know that thing where it's like, oh yeah, could I get a teenager to come in? And then I realize, oh, I am old. Oh, hey, wrong glasses. No wonder. Oh. Speaking of, oh, I am old. uh, yeah. Recommended. Okay. So, um, Pops is, yep. Mm-hmm. Well, gotta do something special for your 16th. After class, maybe we can visit the Burger Bot. Ewan's entire face lit up. Really? Grinning at the kid, Pops shrugged. I mean, unless you'd rather visit the Broccoli Bot. Dad! Oh, actually, that would not be Dad. That would be Pops. Which is. But written, that's going to look like poops. I'm just going to. Huh. How can I fix that? I mean, that's phonetically correct if I spell it with A's, but confusing otherwise. Um, huh, that's hilarious. I don't think there's a way to fix that. Oops. I mean, I could just change it. Ugh, Pops. Pops. No. OMG, Pops. I don't know if kids these days still say OMG. Um, yeah. No, I'm just trying different ways of spelling it to make it not look like pops, not look like poops. There's no, as soon as you have more than one O. I tried that. Um, Pops. Maybe if I try. Nope, that's still. That might work. um, yeah, maybe. I think it only works if it's all caps. I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to leave a note that says, hi. They say use sticky notes or not use sticky um Okay, well, I've tried replacing it with PAAH, all in caps, and then OPS in lowercase. Pops! To capture that diphthong. We'll see how that rolls. Pops! There's no broccoli bot! Lettuce bot? Brussels sprouts bot! Spinach bot. Ewan made the universal noise of a teenager faced with dad jokes. Picklebot. Fidgeting, the kid hissed, Pops, you know who this is, right? This is like Tesla Crane. I mean, it is so flash that she's on the ship. Hi. She waved and offered a quick courtesy bow. I'm Tesla, she, her. Did we meet in Utah? Or his sloot makers, he, him. His brows, sorry, his voice was just a little bit towards Shao. Yes. Great. Good, good. Okay. Let us bop, bop, bop. Let us all bop together. Let us bot. Hello, Alessandra. Hello, Elsie. Oh, hi. Are you desperate for attention? Mm-hmm. Or his salute makers. He, him. His brows came together in a confused frown. I've never been to Utah, so I don't think that's possible. Tesla had seen that exact look on more than one engineer's face when they were pretending that they hadn't gotten a memo. The studied confusion, the feigned surprise that one was being asked. Maybe it was a video call. Did you coach remotely? Some of the poorer off-world teams did that and sent a proxy who could handle Earth gravity. The wealthy off-world teams were made up of kids whose parents could afford conditional. The wealthy off-world teams were made up of kids whose parents could afford conditional training since infancy. She provided scholarships to offset what disparities she could, but gravity load wasn't something that money could compensate for in the short term. Ewan's team had an 8-armed robot. I judged the contest. We've never done robotics. Ewan? He looked down at the kid. Oh, she must have misunderstood. Ewan stood on one foot with the other pressed into their calf. I just always wanted to, so watched all the videos. I mean, like, all the videos. You remember that project I did on robots for that one class? That was not at all what the kid had said before. She didn't push because it was obvious that the kid didn't want Ori to know about the contest, which was seriously weird. Parents had to sign a consent... Parents had to sign a consent form and a waiver and... Someone had lied to their dad about a field trip. Well, she'd done that sort of thing herself. Smiling at Ewan, she said, I'd love to hear about your robotics project sometime. Pivoting back to the dad, she tried to take some of the pressure off the kid. This is my spouse, Shalmanesser Stewart. Ori's eyes widened. The detective? She had her fans and he had his, albeit fewer. Shal bowed his head. Hello, Paul. Aha. Well, yeah. Ah, yes. Yes, I don't think there's any way to see them until they say something. Shal bowed his head in acknowledgement. Retired. From cold cases? Ewan blinked at him. Oh, yeah! Blonde and younger... Ori cleared his throat. So nice to meet you. I had no idea you'd be on the ship. We were traveling incognito, but... Shal spread his hands with a self-deprecating smile. Best laid plans. Jalna crossed the room to them, bringing the lunar European with her. Nothing in her movement or expression said that she recognized Tesla, but she had to. It wasn't possible that she was in robotics and hadn't known exactly who Tesla was. Jalna smiled easily. May I introduce Marjabine Burke-Gaffney, our instructor for this excursion. She has been a rock for us. Oh. Oh, that's probably something in my OBS.
Hey.
Okay, so I've just turned on
Sending out.
desktop audio, which is probably the thing that they needed all along. It's like we sit down and the settings are exactly the same settings that I used in the last session. But this time, everything is different, and we don't know
But it's
why.
still, you're right. It doesn't work the same way. And then we pray to the technology gods and
Yes.
burn incense. Okay, so after excursion, Alessandra says no, still can't hear me.
Really?
Yeah, it's surprising to me too. I'm checking. I mean, let me just try muting and unmuting the Skype. See if that. Oh, she says there. Okay.
Okay,
They can
so it
hear
must
us.
have just been a delay.
Hi, Alessandra. Yeah.
Yeah. Andrew has been saying hello to people and talking to you all. Sorry.
Okay. So after excursion. Here we go.
This excursion.
She has been a rock for us. Sorry, one more time.
This excursion.
She has been a rock for us. This is our new friend, Tesla, and her spouse, Shal. Namaste. Majabine bowed in greeting, with palms pressed together. Her voice was surprisingly deep, and had the same lunar French accent as Jonna. Our dear friend has told me that you are the first on the scene when we lost our dear George. Sorry, there's a truck idling outside, and I don't know if you can hear it.
Listen. Kind of a sound.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can hear.
It. Right. Yeah, that is almost certainly UPS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait until it goes away.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Pulling out.
Oh, yeah.
You can also tell that the dogs are not here today. Because
They're not going crazy.
otherwise, yeah. Yeah.
Hooray, no dogs.
Okay. Oops. No dogs.
All right. So, I didn't know. Here we go.
Dear George.
I didn't know that George was in your yoga class. She had known that, but only because she'd been snooping. When she'd met Annie and Jalna, they hadn't mentioned it. Best case scenario, they hadn't wanted to make a scene. Yes, she had helped plan it and has been a great benefactor. Majabine inclined.
Majabine. Here we go.
Great benefactor.
Majabine inclined her head again. This time her lips were compressed as if she were holding her expression to a firm, neutral calm. She lifted her head again and gestured to the back of the room, where an empty...
And she lifted
Mm-hmm.
after back of the room. So here you go.
Okay.
To the back of the room.
Where an empty yoga mat lay on the floor with a black ribbon across it. But of course, our spirit lives on.
Let's do the same punch there. So I'll just right there's a dropout. Might as well just get it since we're so close. Same punch, please.
To the back of the room.
Where an empty yoga mat lay on the floor with a black ribbon across it. But of course, our spirit lives on in all of us. Crow's Nest. 4 ounces orange juice, 1 ounce cranberry juice, 1 teaspoon grenadine, 1 wheel lime, ice. Shake juices and grenadine over ice for 15 seconds. Pour into rocks glass on ice and garnish with lime wheel. Yoga was a terrible idea. There were times when Tesla said yes to something that she could have done before and thought she might be able to fake her way through in the now. Though, to be fair, this was not the first time she'd misjudged her abilities. Stars and flames and darkness. She focused on the fingers of her right hand pressed into the soft mat. At the front of the room, Majabine's low voice said, "Feel your connection to the ground and the energy flowing up through the ends of your fingers." She walked through the room, pausing to gently correct posture. On one side of Tesla, Annie was balanced on one hand and one knee, with her other leg bent back to literally touch her skull. She had been unfairly flexible through the entire class, seeming to revel in extensions. Revel? Seeming to revel.
Revel, yep, revel. Seeming to revel.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
The entire class.
Seeming to revel in extensions that ought to be impossible even in lunar gravity. And for Tesla, most of them had been. The cat-cow combination at the beginning was an exercise that she often did to loosen and strengthen her lower back. Nothing after that had been within Tesla's ability. There was a difference between pain and damage. With the DBPS, she wouldn't be in pain, but she could cause damage. Beside her, Shal made a soft oomph and slapped his palm.
Beside her. And slapped his palm. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
It is soft oomph.
And slapped his palm back down on the yoga mat, rebounding a little upward from the motion. He landed and froze in table position, and then slowly sat back on his heels. His face was tight. Shal? She broke her pose and reached to steady him. Gimlet slid into position against Tesla, as if her 7 kilos of mass would be a help. It was a comfort, though. Around them, several of the other yoga students broke their own poses. Majabine hurried between the yoga mats, murring. Murring is another new word. It means moving while purring. She's very graceful.
After a couple of students broke I got most of that. A couple of students broke their own poses. I got the definition, which is the most important part.
That is.
All right, here we go.
Their own poses.
Majabine hurried between the yoga mats, moving with the easy grace of a lunar dweller. My dear, are you all right? Shal's breathing was uneven, and the muscle in his jaw was so tight that Tesla worried for his teeth. He swallowed and bent his head to look at Gimlet. I'm fine, but I think I need to sit this out. They were disrupting class. Tesla had questions, so many questions, but she wouldn't be able to really ask any of them. And she wouldn't be able to.
Go and...
So many questions.
And she wouldn't be able to really ask any of them. Why don't we go back to the cabin? She stood carefully, but her back still forked lightning halfway down her leg. It stopped her rise like a robot binding on an electrical cable.
It stopped. Here we go.
Halfway down her leg.
It stopped her rise like a robot binding on an electrical cable. Staggering a step to the side, she misjudged the amount of force needed to catch herself in lunar gravity and rebounded too high.
After side, I believe. Let's do it from staggering a step. That'll be a better punch. Here we go.
Okay.
An electrical cable.
Staggering a step to the side, she misjudged the amount of force needed to catch herself in lunar gravity and rebounded too high. Jalna caught her and eased her upright. There, are you all right? Fine. Thank you for the assist. At her feet, Gimlet made a low boof. I can do a better boof, 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 boof. Okay. Boof. There we go. I found it.
Okay.
It's getting the timbre right.
It's important, right? Got to vocalize the dog properly. Here we go.
Thank you for the assist.
At her feet, Gimlet made a low boof, white whiskers blowing away from her mouth. Her tail wagged uncertainly. Tesla reached down for the leash. Her back seized again, and with the DBPS's safeties back on, there were limits to how much it could suppress. She inhaled sharply, waiting for the crackles to fade. Yoga. What had she been thinking? When she straightened, Shal was standing across from her with a rueful smile and an arm still wrapped around his ribs. Cabin. That had been the correct answer an hour ago. Tesla nodded.
Listen. And an arm still wrapped around his ribs. Can we do it from there, please? Just a little smoother on that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
With a rueful smile.
And an arm still wrapped around his ribs. Cabin. That had been the correct answer. It's always the page breaks where I have that big jump in white space.
Yeah. Are you looking at it on a PDF, or do you have to turn the page?
Not have to turn the page. I just have to scroll, but I can't. I'm not catching the line in the next line in my peripheral vision, so I still have to scroll down, even though I can kind of, yeah. Oh man, yeah. When I was recording in paper, the bottom of the page.
I remember
was always,
those days.
Yeah.
I remember having to punch in for
sound
page
of
turns
turn.
all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Woo. I remember having to mark up the paper script too, and having to turn it in.
Yes.
All right. FedEx it back. All right. After cabin. Here we go. So starting at the top of the night of 173.
Okay.
Cabin.
That had been the correct answer an hour ago. Tesla nodded. Sorry for disrupting the class. Think nothing of it. Majabine pressed her palms together over her heart. You are welcome anytime. Thank you. Wetting her lips, Tesla turned to Annie and Jalna. Let me know if you'd like to grab drinks or a bite to eat. Darling, of course we will. Annie had a worried pinch to her brows. Why don't we walk you back to your cabin? I don't want those vultures to spot you again. I can just call Niall Silver. Jalna glanced up, checking ship time. He is still in the late show, I am afraid. Come, we will accompany you. It is not a problem. I made you miss most of the...
I made you.
Not a problem.
Oh, wait, there's one thing to catch. Sorry. At any time. You are welcome at any time. Above that couple paragraphs there. We just left out the at.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's just punch that, please. Here we go.
Over her heart.
You are welcome at any time.
Great. Okay, so after not a problem.
Not a problem.
Sorry, I
we
made
go.
you miss is where we're at. Yep.
I'm with you now.
Here we go.
Not a problem.
I made you miss most of the yoga show, so I'm not going to make you miss the magic class too. I mean,
I got all that. That was good. I made you miss. Here we go.
Not a problem.
I made you miss most of the magic show. I'm not going to make you miss yoga too. Then you shall make it up to me by letting me play with Le Borgian, yes? She bent down and retrieved the leash that Tesla hadn't been able to pick up. Gimlet immediately sat at her feet, staring up with enormous, dark, and adoring eyes. You see, it is settled between us. She took the leash from Jalna. The longer Tesla fought...
The longer. Let me just check one thing.
Okay.
can we do the phrase with the French at the end? I
Mm-hmm.
believe the N is silent. Le beau chien.
Yeah, that's why I paused, because I was like, oh, Andrew will stop me. No, he didn't. Okay, I'll keep going.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. I only stop if we actually stumble or there's a serious technical issue, because that way we
Yeah.
get, you know, what we do.
Yeah.
But if we could just punch that, that would be great.
Mhm.
Then you shall make me. Here we go. Or make it up. Here we go.
It's yoga too.
Then you shall make it up to me by letting me play with le beau chien. Yes? I mean, I can go listen to it on Forvo to hear what that word actually sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, it's close. It's closer, certainly. The front of it sounds not as good as the front of your previous one, but the end of it is right.
Well, why don't I just do it one more time, and I'll mix them.
Let's do that. Le beau chien. Here we go. I believe so. Here.
Yeah.
Why don't I go to Forvo and make sure I'm not... Forvo. It's funny sometimes.
Right?
Chien.
Chien.
Le chien. Mm-hmm.
Le. Yeah.
All right, so then you shall. Here we go.
It's yoga too.
Then you shall make it up to me by letting me play with le. See, now I'm overthinking. Le blip, 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 blip. Are you sure you want to re-record those?
She bent
Sandra?
down and retrieved.
Now that you mention it.
It sounded great before.
All right, here we go.
It's yoga too.
Then you shall make it up to me by letting me play with le beau chien. Yes? It's lunar French. It's lunar French. There's
Lunar
a
French.
reason
It's
that
perfect. It's
lunar
perfect.
French.
Yep. Yep.
It is a
Move it
flawless
on.
lunar French accent.
Move it on.
I would actually worry about it if it were Terran French, but it is lunar
Yes,
French.
agreed. No.
It's all
She
part
took
of
the
a
leash from
carefully designed set of
very,
phonetic
very
shifts.
smart. Yep.
Very smart, considered patois. Spent as much time on this as they spent on it for The Expanse, which they actually spent considerable time on. But
For once, you can thank author Mary Robinette, right?
yes. Author Mary Robinette fully knew this was going to save her
Right, but
hiney.
But sometimes author Mary Robinette doesn't care about narrator Mary Robinette, so you know.
No, there's yes, the broadcast neutral orbital Singaporean. I was just like, that accent is just going to be whatever the hell I want it to be.
Whatever you make it.
Whatever comes out of my mouth, that is what that accent
That's
is.
it. All right, so let's take it from she took the longer Tesla fought as we were picking it up. So right after she took the leash from Jalna. Here we go.
The leash from Jalna.
The longer Tesla fought, the longer she was going to disrupt yoga class. Thank you. Also, Gimlet took the leash in her mouth and pulled Tesla through the curtains into the hall as if she were about to have a panic attack, which, to be honest, was probably not that far off. Jalna and Shal hurried after them, flanked by Annie. Ewan would either be flipping out that she and Jalna were leaving or crushed. Oh, sorry, she and Jalna were hanging out.
Ewan, here we go.
Flanked by Annie.
Ewan would either be flipping out that she and Jalna were hanging out, or crushed that they were both leaving. She tried to glance back to wave, but her spine wouldn't let Tesla turn her neck to spot Ewan, so she settled for a general wave, hoping that they'd take it as meant for them. I don't know where we are in relation to our cabin. Sorry, there's two eyes. I don't know.
Thank you. Let's get rid of a little thinly doodle. Got it. Okay. Aye, aye.
Aye, aye, Captain.
As meant for them.
I don't know where we are in relation to our cabin. Hell, this was her third cabin on the ship, and the only reason she remembered what ring it was in was because she knew that it had been
And the only reason, here we go.
Third cabin on the ship.
Oh. Sorry, which meant that it was in the middle of the 3 rings. Or not 3 rings, or only 2 rings.
You stop after Martian
Just
gravity.
been in the middle. Yep, it had been in the middle. Yes, that it had Martian gravity. I think that's perfect.
This is her
That last
third
clause.
cabin. Yeah, you don't
Yep.
need that.
Someone just say something funny, or are you still just laughing at me?
No, I'm just chuckling. I'm chuckling. Yeah, the audio engineer said I didn't need it, so I just took it out.
Yeah, that's fine. You're my director.
There you go. Okay, so after cabin. So hell. Here we go.
Third cabin on the ship.
And the only reason she remembered what ring it was in was because she knew that it had been Martian gravity. Shal shrugged. I haven't been to the new one since they moved us. Again. Yacht club still? Jalna shrugged gracefully.
Yacht club. After still. Let's see, one sec. Thank you for picking up on the punch that I told you was not quite in the right place.
I just start talking when you...
And I appreciate it.
I'm hearing sound in the other room, and I'm trying to decide if it is Elsie getting into something she shouldn't, or if Rob is in the apartment doing something.
I bet on cat.
That's my bet, too.
That sounds cat-like. With cat-like tread. Da-da-da-da-da.
Hang
on. Okay, so Shal shrugged. Oh no, Jalna. So
No, that's
Jalna
Rob.
shrugged Grace. Oh, great. Well, he has a
Do I
cat-like
need to
tread.
tell him? Yes, he does have a cat-like tread. I wonder if I should do it and say, hi, sorry, sweetheart, we can hear you eating granola. We'd really like a soundproof room.
Yeah. Well, the problem is the weight. Isn't it,
Yeah.
basically?
That's a lot of it, yeah.
They weigh a lot. I looked into it for my own space, but it just... Yep. 1,200 pounds on a 6 square foot area just doesn't seem like a great idea for a residential house.
No.
So,
no.
After Yacht Club still. Here we go.
Yacht club still.
Jalna shrugged gracefully. That is simple. Yes, the Martian level. 1 level above us, then. Perfect. Annie beamed, heading through the lobby to the bridge that cut across the promenade area of the ship. The yacht club elevator comes straight here, so the entire ship isn't trying to use it. Might be someone to notice you, but not as many as if you had to walk on one of the thoroughfares. On the far side, the bank of glass elevators nestled against the open corridors of the promenade, which helped Tesla orient to where she was on the ship. Annie stopped in the middle of the bridge, patting her shoulder. Dagnabbit, I left my capelet. And also, darn it, that's right, I did give her a capelet.
Let me just check one thing.
Except that earlier, Tesla gets a shawl. So either this has to go to shawl, at which point... where do I have to change it more?
I feel like also, I think we've been saying promenade, yeah. So we need to go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
and
we
get both
have.
promenades. Yep. What did I do here? Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. I will find the first promenade while you discuss the shawl capelet situation.
No, I changed it to capelet for reasons, and shawl. The previous one is just one that I missed.
Say it one more time. You're gonna go with shawl.
Yeah. It's fascinating. The exact match that it just took me back to for shawl is the word she, which is not really what I was looking for. Why are you giving me she? I've carefully typed in shawl. Exact match. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so it'll be 146.
146. Okay, one sec.
Yeah.
142nd.
Haha.
Haha. Yeah. 146. We're changing that to capelet. You're saying, right?
Capelet. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One minute while I find my spot. This is why I write down the number of each recording piece so I can find where things were.
You
For the
are
lobby.
smart. Hey, good job. That was the end of that sentence, I think.
Was it? Did I find it?
I think you did.
I sure did. Good for me.
You're amazing.
Thank you. I have my moments. Yep. So Annie's capelet dropped to the floor.
Yep.
Yep. That's all we need. Annie's capelet dropping to the floor. We need to get two of these, right? Because she woke up with a shawl over her. Did she not?
No, she didn't know what it was. It was a
Okay.
shawl or a shawl or
Okay.
a blanket or a capelet.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So Annie's shawl dropping to the floor is all we need. Here we go.
Staggered to her feet.
Annie's capelet dropping to the floor and bolted for the lobby.
Okay, 1 second.
Good timing because also an airplane is happening.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Do you need a different read?
That works. Okay.
Okay.
Then back to where we were, which was 170 something. Not quite.
No, it was 180 something.
No, because we.
No.
Well, I mean, maybe for you it was, but for me,
No, it was 170 something.
it's 170, 174.
Okay, there we go.
So we got to get the promenades because.
Yep.
Although, let's see here.
It's fine if it's in dialogue, but
that one was the first one is not. The first one is.
no, I don't think either of them are.
Description. Yeah, Annie beamed.
Plane is still with us.
Okay. I'm still working my.
Your magic.
Work on my. Yeah, my magic. Okay. I'm ready for the first one on the plane. I still hear the plane.
Okay, we're clear.
Okay. Here we go.
In perfect.
Annie beamed, heading through the lobby to the bridge that cut across the promenade area.
The yacht club elevator.
Promenade area.
Here we
Fix
go.
the thing you're here to fix.
In perfect.
Annie beamed, heading through the lobby to the bridge that cut across the promenade area of the ship.
Thank you. And then thoroughfares on the far side. The bank of glass elevators. Just take it from there
Okay.
and keep going if that's cool.
Yep.
Here we go.
On the far side,
The bank of glass elevators nestled against the open corridors of the promenade, which helped Tesla orient to where she was on the ship. Annie stopped in the middle of the bridge, patting her shoulder. Dagnabbit, I left my cape lit. We'll wait for you. Shao leaned against the high rail of the bridge with a flirty wink. She is always leaving something, and she will begin talking to someone when she goes in, so it will be quite some time. Jalna shook her head. It is best for you to not wait for her. If you take the elevator down, it will go straight to the yacht club suites. Thank you. Maybe you can finish the class, and we can do the playdate with Gimlet later. That would be much appreciated. I should like to have an opportunity to talk when there is not so much activity. She bent to fondle Gimlet's ears. Prinçois de ton parent, magnifique enfant. We can wait until I get the... We can let me fight through or just wait until I get the template.
Prends soin. Prends soin de ton parent magnifique enfant. We should probably just wait since we're getting all the other ones, right?
Yeah.
Prends soin. Okay. A little break. Should probably do something like this to make it easier. One second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you the previous line to go off of. We'll skip that one. So starting with Jalna.
Okay.
let's ears.
Jalna, oops. Sorry, my computer just opened a random window.
Okay. Here we go. Same
Give me a
place.
second to
Oh, sure.
get back to the manuscript. Okay.
Here we go.
Let's ears.
Jalna headed back across the bridge to the yoga studio. Tesla relaxed a little, leaning against the rail next to Shal. He had waved when Jalna left, but otherwise made no move to leave. He stared out into the large atrium, drumming his fingers on the bridge. Do you want to go back to our room? He nodded, but didn't move from the rail. Shal's mouth pursed and he rubbed his ear. You can see the Arbar entrance from here. The Martian and lunar levels had thoroughfares on either side of the atrium, with broad plazas that doubled as stacked bridges spanning the gap between their promenades.
Right. Let me get one thing. I just need Jalna headed back across the bridge to the yoga studio because helpfully bridge was the dropout. So,
Okay.
oops, here we go.
Let's ears.
Jalna headed back across the bridge to the yoga studio.
Great, thank you. So, picking it up.
Yeah, there's a plane coming towards us.
Thank you. We'll take it when the plane is done. We'll take it from with broad plazas. I'm listening.
All right, I think it's passed and is moving away.
Okay. Here we go.
Side of the atrium.
With broad plazas, sorry. I thought I knew where
That's
I was
okay.
and was mistaken.
That's all right. Here we go.
Side of the atrium.
With broad plazas that doubled as stacked bridges, spanning the gap between their promenade. Oh, for fuck's sake.
After bridges. Here we go.
The stacked bridges.
Sorry, it's... All right, now it's gone.
Okay. With broad. Here we go.
The stacked bridges.
Sorry. After bridges. Sorry.
The stacked bridges.
Spanning the gap between their promenades, each at a slight angle that the architects had contrived to blend with the design of the ship. On the Terran level, I did a find replace. I don't know how I missed so many of these.
Yeah. I don't know. Technology.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Alessandra and Kendra are writing a theme song for the new hit show Assassin's Wives. Here we go. It's pretty funny. All right. Here we go.
With the design of the ship.
On the Terran level, about midway down the length of the atrium, the facade to the R-bar stood on the same side of the plaza as the elevators. Further down, ficus trees marked the entrance to the yacht club. Interesting. She twisted Gimlet's...
She twisted.
Interesting.
She twisted Gimlet's leash between her fingers, thinking. The stairs we passed, were those the ones you chased that person up? Yep. And am I right that Majabine matches your description? Yep. So is she? Don't know. We were moving fast and I never got a clear look. What about you? You looked at the group reservation. Tesla nodded, thinking through the pieces, and pulled Majabine's entry from the manifest onto her HUD. In the boarding photos, she's got her hair pulled back with a hairband. It wasn't obviously a bowl cut. And then there's Yuki. Maybe he and the magician are connected? Niall seemed pretty cozy with Annie and Jalna. Oh, and Ori and Ewan aren't on the yoga class list. He sighed, tucking his chin into his chest. After a moment, he rubbed his ear again and shook his head. Let's go back to the Let's go.
Let's go.
And shook his head.
Oops, sorry. I just bumped the mic stand. Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
And shook his head.
One more time.
And shook his head.
I think the plane is doing turns around the point because it is coming back.
Fuck.
Hang on. All right. Faded again.
All right. So let's go with shook his head. Same place.
And shook his head.
Let's go back to the cabin. You aren't going to suggest that we hunker down again, are you? Yep. He started walking toward the elevator. But you love this, and you're good at it. Shal stopped and rested his hand on the railing. Look, Tesla, I'm going to say this because it's relevant, but I want you to
But I want. Here we go.
relevant.
But I want to ask you to respect that I made a choice to retire. Okay. May I? It would be easier if I understood why. He looked out into the promenade, sharp noise clear in silhouette. His mouth tightened, and he tapped a thumb on the rail. You won't like the answer. She came up behind him and rested her hand on his. I don't like the non-answer either. He snorted and winced, still looking out at the promenade. I don't like being bad at things. I retired because I couldn't do my job well, and I hated that. What are you talking about? You're brilliant and I got famous. He shrugged. Not your levels, but enough that it interfered. So, I retired. A cold pit knotted in Tesla's stomach because he hadn't retired after being on cold cases. He'd retired after they'd gotten serious. So, I'll share our thoughts and observations with Maria and Bob, but otherwise, the best thing we can do is to... Someone shrieked behind them. Tesla spun, her back spasming with the motion, and she had to grab the rail until she could move again. More screams came from below them. When her vision cleared, Shao clung to the rail and his face was tight. Below them, on the floor of the earth level, lay a body. The overhanging balconies filled as people rushed to look at the scene below. On the plaza, some people were trying to help the person who had fallen. Others on the plaza looked up, pointing as if they were trying, okay, so we have to fix Terran level.
Yeah, and we have to fix one other thing, too.
Okay.
Pointing is where we take it. Let's go back to the other fix first, please.
Okay. And that is?
You were describing Shao and you said sharp noise, clear in silhouette. It's supposed to sharp nose.
Look.
His face is so handsome it makes noise.
You know, beauty speaks volumes.
Loud, clearly. Loud volumes.
Yeah.
All right. His sharp nose, Jolly need a sharp nose, clear in silhouette. Here we go.
Okay.
Into the promenade.
Sharp nose clear in silhouette.
Thank you. Okay.
Elsie,
so
by the way,
then,
appears to be calling narration sound working, which I find interesting because she can't hear you.
Huh.
The overhanging
So I'm assuming that it's just that I spend a lot of time in here talking. And she doesn't have a word for talking.
Yeah. I mean, sound, yeah. I mean, I would assume it's because you're in here talking and it seems like you're talking to no one. So you must be doing it to hear it. Sound work. That's really interesting. She's smart.
Yeah. She is smart. She's not that smart. That's a coincidence thing, but it is interesting that it's a pattern she's used more than once.
Yeah.
It may also just be that she's using her noise buttons. She, when I'm doing Zoom calls on the couch, she's like, loud. Loud. All done. Loud working, all done.
That's funny. It bothers her.
Does not like...
it does not like the Zoom sound?
No. Does not like me doing it, I think.
Gotcha. All right, let's do on the floor of the Terran level, please.
Okay.
Just that phrase.
Must be really frustrating for listeners where it's like there's a body and I've just said it, but you have to wait while I go fix something else. The cliffhangers just get worse.
They can see the script though, can't they? At least the page you're on. So
Yeah, but they
maybe
can't.
probably read
They
ahead,
can't turn the page.
which is which is good. Cliffhanger. All right, here we go.
Below them,
On the floor of the Terran level lay a body. The overhanging balconies filled as people rushed to look at the scene below. I hear you typing. Is something wrong?
You do. No, I just stopped because I was just going to punch that level and go back in, but I could have just let you go. It's true. So I was going to do after others on the plaza looked up.
I couldn't remember where I'd actually stopped.
That's all right.
Okay.
So after looked up. So pointing as if trying is where we are.
on the plaza looked up.
Pointing as if trying to figure out where they'd fallen from. Except they were looking in the wrong place. Planet-based instincts leading them astray. On a ship like this, the Coriolis effect would cause anything that dropped to appear to curve in midair as the ship turned around it. The loud.
The loud. Here we go.
Turned around it.
The loudspeakers blared. Delta Gamma 559er, repeat, Delta Gamma 559er. Most of the passengers were looking up, but some were following the direction of spin. Tesla traced a line in a long curve up and away from the body lying on the floor. If the person fell from the Martian level, then they would have come from just outside an ice cream shop. From the lunar level, the imaginary line intersected the yoga studio at the far end of the bridge she and Shao were standing on, and they were alone on it.
We just need to get one noise thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that came in a spot between words, so I figured I'd just keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to check. It may have.
It was a good sound.
What's that?
I said it was a good sound. I was like, ooh.
It was a great
Tiny
sound. I'm
little
going to play it
alien.
for you in 1 second here.
I love it when my body makes whale song.
Yeah, I think we have to get this one. Even when I cut it out, you hear.
If the person fell from the Martian level,
But it's even better if I don't cut it out.
from the Martian level,
It was a cat. It's a completely
Yeah.
obviously cat.
Elsie.
No, it was...
Elsie.
Oh.
All right, let's get.
Yeah, I had an engineer once who took a sound like that and like slowed it down and put reverb under it, and I swear to God, it sounded like a whale.
Does not surprise me. All right, let's get that punch. So
Yeah.
if the person fell from the Martian level is what we need, I think.
Okay.
Here we go.
lying on the floor.
If the person fell from the Martian level,
Thank you.
you had to stop at 11 today? Or you had to stop in 5 minutes or 35 minutes? Today's a split day, and I can't remember. Oh, you were editing and couldn't hear me.
I was. What did you say? Sorry.
I couldn't remember what time we needed to stop, because since we're doing a split today, are we...
Yeah, we
stopping
should
in
start.
5
This is a
minutes?
good. No, this
Good
is a good
stop.
place to stop here because
That's what I
we're at the
thought.
beginning of a chapter. It seems like, yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll scroll just a little bit so people can see what cocktail they should make next. It's
Okay.
called Death in the Afternoon.
Nice.
Yeah. I do hope people appreciate my thematic links.
I think they do.
falling from the crow's nest,
Like-
last cocktail, to death in the afternoon.
Yours ends up sounding a little bit more like a lion.
Ah,
Here you go.
oh no. Didn't hear it. Oh. Yeah,
Did you?
it was not
Not as whale-like.
God.
It wasn't long enough, I'm
Not as-
afraid.
not as well like, no. Someone, a friend of mine just shared a TikTok of a tiger meowing, and
Uh-huh.
it's recognizably the meow sound,
Uh-huh.
but it is so low,
I'm gonna have to look that up.
so low and so barrel chested.
All right. We shall pick this up in an hour.
Correct.
In an hour and a
I've
little
got-
bit, actually.
An
Yeah.
hour and a little, yeah. Yeah, I've got, for those of you who are listening, I have us scheduled to start at 12:15, because typically it takes us 15 minutes to get things connected.
Iron
But
out the kinks.
yeah, so Eastern time. So thank you all again for joining us, and we will see you later.
Yes, indeedy.